אנחנו מאמינים בני מאמינים, אנחנו מאמינים בני מאמינים, ואין לנו עמים להישואל, ואין לנו עמים להישואל, אוי אלו אלו על אבינו, אלו אלו על אבינו, אבינו שבשמיים, אנחנו מאמינים בני מאמינים, ואין לנו עמים להישואל.
Shalom, everyone. Shalom. We are a week before the Messianic conference. Next weekend, I won't be here to teach the Hebrew class. Maybe I think Pete will be able to fill in and do a review for you guys. But it's exciting. I'll be coveting your prayers at the MJAA Southwest Regional Conference in Irvine. It's going to be awesome. And it's my first time ever doing the Torah portion for the Shabbat service on that Saturday. So I'm excited about that. I've done the prophet reading, the Haftarah, and the New Covenant reading, and even done New Covenant in Hebrew, which was the first. But this will be the first time, and actually it'll be the first time in a while that we've had a male cantor to be able to sing the portion. Usually it's one of the females in the congregation from that area that actually reads the Hebrew and does like a few words and then English and then the Hebrew and the English, and this will be the first time it's probably fully sung. So we're excited about that because your rabbi gets to do that, so it's a privilege, and I'm also like shaking in my boots at the same time, so I'm excited.
What day that will be?
It's next weekend, the 12th through the 14th is the whole conference. It starts with a yeshiva on Friday morning, which is kind of separate from that, and Saturday morning on the 13th will be the Shabbat service open to the public. The Yeshua Israel, Rabbi Larry Feldman, his whole congregation will be actually having service there, so that will be their Shabbat morning. There will still be a service here for those in Hemet and San Jacinto, but it will be a really great conference. So for those that are attending, you're going to have a great time. There is a fee for the conference part that starts Friday night into Sunday night. It starts with a concert or worship service with Paul Lieberman, and ends, I believe, also with Paul at the end on Sunday. I believe it's still the... What did I say? I said Lieberman? Paul Wilbur, yes, let me not get that confused. Joel Lieberman is what I was probably thinking in my head. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with a word of prayer and take a look at this parsha this week. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, we thank you, Abba, for your blessing on our life and the strength that you've given us this week, and you've brought us to this time today to have a holy convocation, to rest in your presence and to enter into that perfect rest. And I pray, Lord God, that none of your promises would be left undone, that we would refuse to enter into those promises, enter into that rest. For as Israel was complaining in the wilderness, sometimes we complain about our lives, and only the younger generation was able to go into the promised land under Joshua. Let us never complain. Let us always look forward to the future. And Father, we thank you today, Lord God, that you're our strength. This is the day that the Lord has made. We rejoice in it. We pray that you'd open up our mind and our heart to understand the Hebrew tongue, Lashon, Ivrit. And Father, we pray, Lord God, that you would give us that Hebrew tongue, Lord God, today, that Hebrew mindset, that Hebrew way of thinking, Lord God, so we can understand your word and communicate your good news in Yeshua. In his name we pray, B'Shem Yeshua. Amen. All right. One of the main reasons for studying Hebrew is for you to have a personal understanding. Secondarily, it's so you can share that understanding with friends and family and people that you meet every day. How many have had opportunities to share something you've learned here at Simchat Yeshua or studying Hebrew with a friend or a family member or someone you just come in contact with? So it's a great tool for witnessing, to share the truth and even to share a deeper understanding. I like this cup that I brought this morning. It says that it talks about the 10 Commandments being non-negotiable.
Yeah.
That was one of those thrift shop items that I just said, I gotta have that one, you know. But anyway, this week is Parshat Mishpatim. It comes from Shemot, or Exodus 21:1 through 24:18. And so I thought we would start with someone reading the text for us. We're going to take a look at only the first verse for now. We might progress on other things, but let's get someone to read Exodus 21. Why don't we just do 1 and 2, just so we can get a background of what the verse is about. Who wants to volunteer to read? Okay, so Exodus 21, let's read verse 1 and 2. May the Lord bless the hearing of our ears of the word of God today.
chapter
21, 1 and 2.
Now these are the ordinances which you have set before them, and if you buy a Hebrew servant, he is to serve for 6 years, and in the 7th he is to go free without payment.
So in verse 2. Okay. So now this first verse we have on the board, which is basically saying that these are, the version said, ordinances in the TLV. We're going to find out exactly what these are by plugging in the vowel points. I think I'm going to plug in the vowel points, the nikkud vocalization with blue color, and then we'll transliterate with the red. Okay? So I just have the Hebrew here, and this is what you would see in the scroll. So as I'm even studying the portion for the conference next week, which happens to be Exodus 3, verse 7 and 8, and then we pick up at verse 10 through 12 for the conference, because it relates to the theme of God bringing us to this special time, this special season, just like God brought Israel. So the Hebrew in the scroll would look like this. Not exactly like this. This is kind of a, well, of course, my form of a book script, or a block script, but it would have a special look among the scribes of Israel within a certain Torah scroll. For instance, Ashkenazi Torah scrolls from the German, Polish, Russian tradition, they basically have a certain look, a little different from Sephardic, which is your Spanish and Middle Eastern looking peoples, Spanish-speaking Jews and Jews that were scattered all over the world that really came from Israel and kind of probably look a little bit more like the original Israeli. They actually have a different look, and their scrolls are different. Their scrolls are in a case that you can't take it out, while Ashkenazi scrolls like ours, you can take a mantle off of it and actually unroll it and put it on a table. So the other Torah scrolls from the Sephardic tradition are actually in a case that they close up, and you open it, and it stays within the case, and they are able to read it and unroll it from the case. So it's a little bit of different tradition, same Torah. So as we look at this, remember we have 22 Hebrew letters, 11 of them can be prefixes, so we're already going to start the beginning of the read with a prefix. What's the first letter that you see starting from right to left?
Vowel.
Vowel. Okay, so for those that maybe didn't recognize that letter, let's quickly review our Aleph Beit. And you can take a look at the transliterated name of the letters in the center column on your front of your handout. Or if you're familiar with the Hebrew, you can just look on the left side and just read them straight down. We usually only say the 22 letters without any incidentals. So we just say the first form of the name, and then we won't worry about sofit, because we know 5 of the letters have a final form or a different look at the end of a word. Like in the word shalom, the mem here looks like this at the end of a word. So 5 letters and just a different look. Greek does the same thing. But a final form at the end of a word, along with our vowels that we'll repeat, because we have 5 vowels, and we have also 5 letters that can be indicators of a vowel. Okay, so let's start with our Aleph Beit. 1, 2, 3. Aleph Beit Gimel Dalet Hey Vav Zayin Het Tet Yud Kaf Lamed Mem Nun Samech Ayin Pei Tzadi Kuf Resh Shin Tav Tov Meod. Now you notice that we do 5 letters at a time. Short breath, another 5 letters. The reason we do that is because it's easy for you to practice at home. My daughter, she knows her first 5 really well, then she kind of needs little hints to finish up because she's still kind of learning Hebrew. But sometimes out of nowhere, I'll just hear her say to one of the family members, I know Hebrew, and she'll say, Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. And sometimes she'll do it again, Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, because she's heard her dad do that, Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. So you can count on your fingers 5, and once you get those 5 down, go to the next 5, and then get the next 5, and after a while, you'll be able to recite them all. You'll get to 4 sets of 5, and then you'll have your last 2. So we take a breath before the last 2, Shin Tav, right? And then we have, just like we had the 5 letters that we do at a time, let's do our 5 vowels, just the sound of them. 1, 2, 3. A, E, I, O, U. All right, so if you've taken a Spanish class or a Latin-based class, you'll notice the sound is the same, because all the Middle East and the Mediterranean region uses these basic sounds, a, e, I, o, u. So you got to retrain your brain to think from a, e, I, o, u to a, e, I, o, u. So if I have an a vowel, what's the sound? An o vowel?
O.
I heard an u in there. Okay, the o vowel? O. A u?
U.
An I?
E.
An I?
E.
All right. An e?
E.
All right. So now, is there a way to make an Americanized sound of the a?
Yes.
There is. You have to put a vowel with a consonant letter that will be used as part of a vowel. And does anybody know what that is?
Yeah, it's a R and a U. The Kamash U.
It's
Guitar
a
U.
e vowel with the letter u following. So it is the sere u.
Yeah, that's right.
So sere would look like this, 2 dots side by side under a letter, followed by the letter yud. That's basically giving us sere, which is an e, and then the yud would make it a y sound after. So like in the word hey, you have the a sound. Other than that, this would normally be eh.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the vowels, a, e, I, o, and u, you'll take the first page that has the names and then flip it over, you'll see the vowels. So a, e, I, o, and u are pronounced a, e, o, and u. Okay? So the only way to make an American A is to actually add on the sere, which are 2 dots side by side. It's the longest possible E you have, is this formation of the 2 dots side by side, followed by the letter U, because that's basically borrowing from the consonant sound of the Yud and making it part of the vowel sound. A. You hear that Y at the end. Normally, if there was a vowel marking underneath the Yud, it would not be a part of a vowel and it'd be separate and it'd be a consonant. So like for instance, if I put 1 dot underneath the letter Yud, what would it be?
E.
It would be what?
E.
Yeah, Yi. It would be Yi. It would be an E sound and it would be Yi. Like Vayishma that we had last week, right? Vayishma. Okay? So, let's take a look at the first letter again.
Vav.
We have the letter Vav. Now normally, if we look at prefixes, we know that one letter can represent a whole concept by adding it to the front of a word. So there is a list of prefixes in your handout, it's about in the middle of the papers, that you'll see 11 prefixes. And so, right here you have Hebrew prefixes. We have 4 prepositional prefixes. We have the beit, the kaf, the lamed, and the mem. We have an definite article, and that is the letter hey. We have also the letter vav, which is used as a conjunction, and then we also use as a pronoun shin for he, which, or that in front of a word. And then we have 4 used for verb conjugation in the future. Or in biblical thought, it could even be used to refer to something that's happened in the past already. So here we have the first letter, which is again what? Vav. So how would we transliterate that? That means what English letters would we put to translate? The Vav? V. It's a V. Okay. It's a V. Okay, now, if we're looking at the text, we see that the typical marking underneath would be a Shiva. Now, this is an E sound at times, or a glottal stop. Shiva has 2 rules. There's a whole section in there on the Shiva Na and the Shiva Nach. So, the Shiva Nach is like the word Noah in Hebrew, Noach, which means to rest. So the Shiva Nach comes to a glottal stop, or you rest, unless it's under the first letter of a word, you're going to give it a short E sound. And you have a Shiva Na that moves. So Na means to be moving or sounding. So you have a silent Shiva and you have a sounding Shiva. In this case, under the first letter of a word, it has to sound. It's short, it's the shortest E possible, but it does need to sound. So what sound do we have here? What's the sound underneath the vowel? Eh. Okay? Now, I can either put the E there, or sometimes you'll see in text where there's no E, they just put an apostrophe in the air. So again, it still would be pronounced with the consonant sound of the letter with a short E sound, ve. So either way, I'm going to go ahead and put the E back for new students that just need to know what sound to give it. Everybody say that together. Ve. Okay? Now, just to separate, I'm going to use a capital for the next part of the word. The actual word after the vav, which is just a prefix, that means what? What does it mean underneath? What does vav mean?
And.
As a prefix? And. Okay. So notice that it makes no sense in English because you would never start with and as the beginning of a sentence, right? It's just improper grammar. But in Hebrew, to show that there's really no periods, it's just one consecutive read, it's all hooked together because the picture of the vav, it looks like a little hook, doesn't it? Which is why it's used for and. Because ancient Hebrew are pictographs, like hieroglyphics, Egyptian hieroglyphics. And so the vav is a hook or a nail. So they hook things together and nail things together. We use and to nail two concepts together. Boys and girls, men and women, we hook those two concepts together, right? So the picture of this vav meant this is connected to that. So the previous sentence of the last week's portion is connected to this one. It's one consecutive read. So many times, even though it's improper in English, it makes perfect sense in Hebrew, that the Torah is one connected book, okay? So let's go to the first letter. What is Aleph? What letter can we translate Aleph? If you look at your Aleph Beit, you'll see it's silent. It's a silent letter. It is a silent shofar that needs someone to put their lips to it, blow wind through it, and that wind instrument can make sound if you give it a certain sound from your own lips. So you think of the Aleph as well as the Ain, the 16th letter in Hebrew, as silent letters. That means they can take on any sound. Any sound, okay? So in this case, we're going to put the familiar Seirei underneath the letter. So 2 dots under here. There. So maybe you're writing this out and you're just kind of, learning how to write out Hebrew. How we look at Hebrew and how we write Hebrew is, first of all, from right to left. And we start with a consonant and we add a vowel. And we have a consonant and we have a vowel. Sometimes we just have a consonant and vowel to make a syllable. So an open syllable is just a simple consonant with a vowel. So that's how you read Hebrew, one syllable at a time. But there are times if you add an extra consonant, you have then a closed syllable. So our example that's the easiest that has both open and closed is what word?
Shalom.
Shalom. So the first part, sha, is a sheen, with underneath it the vowel marking of a sound. This is called a kamatz. And lom is a consonant with a vav, which is used as a vowel indicator here. The dot on top makes an O sound. A dot on the side would make what sound? Ooh. So even though this is a V, it could be used to indicate a vowel by just putting a dot on top for like that bird in the air. Oh, look at that bird in the air, right? And then down here, if you put the dot on the side, ladies, what do you remember? Ooh, look at that nice purse, okay? So the ladies have the purse on the side, men's have the bird or the plane in the air, right? So in this case, we have an O from the dot being put on top of vav, cholam vav. That means it's not a consonant anymore. You can't transliterate it as a V. You've got to change it into a vowel because it's one of the 5 vowel indicators. They're consonant letters, but they can be used to indicate a vowel. So in this case, it becomes a O, and we have a consonant with a vowel plus another consonant. So this one is not open. This one is what? Closed. So you have open here, closed. So everyone say sha.
Sha.
Your mouth stays what? Open. And say lom. Lom. Your mouth closes. What closes it? That final consonant at the end. Okay, now, if the final consonant is a vowel indicator, one of these 5, it's not a consonant closing off the sound. So I want you to say the name Sarah.
Sarah.
Sarah. Well, wait a minute. It has a hey at the end. Why is this not a closed syllable here? Here's one open one. Why is this not one also closed to where we say Sarah? Because this is a vowel indicator because it's in the list here. So that's a extension of this vowel. The ah sound here, as we had the ah sound there, we have sha or sa, because remember the dot on the left makes it an S. A dot on the right is the right way to pronounce a letter, sheen. The letter sheen is a sh sound, as in shalom. So the moment you move the dot to the left, it changes it from an SH to an S. In Greek, they would only have the S. So they would lose anything that had a sh sound to it. So in today's reading of Hebrews chapter 3 and 4 in relationship to Joshua taking Israel into the promised land, it will tell you in Greek that there's still a Sabbaton for the people of God. That means a Sabbath keeping. King James puts rest, which is a little deceiving. It's not Sabbath rest, is it? It's just rest. Oh, let's make it metaphoric. But it's actually saying that the Sabbath is a picture of, an eternal picture of God's rest, and you can't remove it because you remove God's rest if you take away the picture. Just like if you take away one letter in Hebrew, you change the meaning of the verse. Okay, so the Sabbaton is a direct transplant from Hebrew Shabbaton. It means a Sabbath of complete rest. So God says that we're to have Shabbat Shabbatons, Sabbaths of complete Sabbaths, or a Sabbath of complete Sabbath rest, meaning the type of rest the Sabbath is meant to teach us about. So Greek had no other word for the Sabbath. So it just took the Hebrew, but it lost the sh sound. So when you look up that word rest in Hebrews 4, you'll find out it's really the word Sabbath. And in the Gospels, it's translated Sabbath every single time. Every time. When it says Yeshua went to the Sabbath, or in the book of the Acts that the Rav Shaul went to Sabbath, and they went to the synagogue on the Sabbath, it's the actual word Sabbaton. Why did they not translate that one word Sabbath?
Right.
Because many translators did not want us to think that the Sabbath was still in power for believers today.
Right.
Because it messed with their theological concept of God and His rules and His laws and the New Covenant. And so it's once again a part of replacement theology that doesn't teach us the true meaning of the word. And we'd have to look it up in the Hebrew and the Greek to actually know the meaning.
Right.
Sad but true. Now, if you take a look at the Aleph then, the Seirei is going to make the Aleph, which you would think would be an A, into what sound? Here we go. So here's our markings for a long E. A medium E would look like this. A short E would look like this. And then we could even have reduced the Shabbat by itself. Okay? So in this case, we have a long E here, E. So I'm going to put a big E here, because this is the first letter of the word. Okay? What's the Lamed?
L.
L. Now, we're going to have to put our vowel marking underneath the Lamed. In this case, we're also going to have a dagesh in here. Which it used to be that the sound would be doubled before and after the syllable, or at least transliterated with two L's. Most of the time in Hebrew we don't do that anymore, but with this letter. But in this case, the E would be the medium length E, which is the three dots in a downward triangle, and that is the sagol. Sagol. Okay? So this is Ele. 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 The Ele. Okay? That means and these. Okay, that's what that means, and these. And Ele is for masculine words. So if I wanted to change if I had a feminine noun, it would change. But in this case, it's masculine. Okay? So we're going to say and these. Now we get to the main part of the word, which is the actual name of the portion. And we're going to have Mishpatim. Okay, so here's some rules here. This is Exodus 21:1. I'm putting in blue all of the nikkud vocalization that's going to help us pronounce the letters. And you're going to tell me how to transliterate it. Okay, so here's the word And you can see I put in the nikkud vocalization. Some of these are vowel points, or they help us pronounce the letter. Like the BeGaD KeFaT, the 6 BeGaD KeFaT letters. Certain set of letters that when the dagesh is in there, it can actually change the sound of the letter, or it can help us know if it's weak or strong. So in this case, we have another prefix. What is our prefix that begins this block of letters here? Ha. Okay, so look at your prefixes. Tell me what ha is. It's the. It's a definite article. It's the. So let's go ahead and just put that out. I'll go ahead, since it's a definite article, I'll make it capital. Ha. Okay? And that is the. Now, the problem is, in Hebrew, there is no present tense form to be. Is and are for understood. So we're going to have to throw in the word are here. Because it's not needed in Hebrew, it's understood. Okay? So these are the. Now, notice it's prefixed. The beginning of the word is Mishpatim, so this is actually a word all by itself, but with the hey in front of it, it's making it definite. It's not just a ruling, a decree of a judge, an ordinance. It is the ordinances, plural, because of this plural ending here. Im. So anything with I am at the end or im, like talmidim means students. Talmid is one student, a male. Talmidah is one female. So im would be for masculine plural, im. So any Hebrew word that has im at the end, I am, you know it's going to be with the hirif, yud, and mem sofit, you know it's going to be masculine most of the time, and in plural. Okay. There are exceptions. Okay. So here we're going to transliterate this. What do I do for the mem here? Now why do I have a dagesh in the middle of the... What is the dagesh doing here in this letter?
It's strengthening it.
Okay, it's strengthening the concept because it's ha mishpatim. So like in the name David, the first dalet in his name, dalet vav dalet for David, you have to put a dagesh in there because it's David. The first D is softer, the last D is softer, the first one is strong. David. Ha-mishpatim. Okay? So the mem is going to receive a dalet because of the hey in front of it. This is, what did I say? Dalet. Okay, what I meant to say was the mem is going to receive a dagesh because of the hey in front of it, making it definite. So anytime you have a word, a noun that has a definite article in front of it, you're going to put a dagesh in there if it can receive a dagesh. If it can receive one. You don't put one on an aleph, you don't put one on an ayin. Okay, you're going to have certain letters that you're not going to put one. I believe the resh also, you're not going to put a dagesh in it. Okay? So, this is the beginning of the word. Now, what's the vowel underneath it?
Kata. Oh, that. You're hearing in the...
Hearing. Okay, this is hearing. Now, a long I would look like this. Hearing, you. But one dot underneath, like the dot on an I in English, the one dot underneath the letter is a medium length. So it's not long. Therefore, there's a special rule here. When you see a shabbat after a medium length vowel, it has to be a shabbat nach, meaning it must come to a glottal stop or a rest. So it's not going to be its own separate syllable. Because basically, how do we make syllables? What's the basic for making a syllable? Consonant plus vowel, that means it's open. And then you could also have a consonant plus a vowel closing off with another consonant. Okay? So in this case, the shabbat nach is going to make a closed syllable. So we have the first part, ha. Pronounce it by itself, right? Ha. And then we have the beginning of the word. Now normally this would just be me. Watch this. If I put a yud here and make this long, it no longer is going to be connected to this shabbat. It's going to be like this. I'll put a line. You have ha, me, and then this would be something else. She, whatever. Ha, me. In this case, When I have the Sheva Nach, which means to rest, it's coming to a glottal stop. Therefore, I'm closing off this syllable to go here, because I do not have a yud in there. It's a medium length vowel. It has to be long to be its own entity. To be its own syllable, it has to have a long vowel, period. Long vowel. Why? Because everybody say me, me. So all by itself. But I go me, sh. I'm cutting off the sound by having a shorter vowel. So if it's cutting off, that means you're closing. And it's going to close. The only way to close is with an extra consonant. So it's going to close with the indicator of this Sheva. This is called a Sheva Nach. So it's ha-mish. So let's go ahead and put that. Ha-mish. And I can even put this here just to indicate we're going to cut it off. Ha-mish. Okay, what's the pay there? Okay, so here we're not finished with the word yet, so I can't put anything more. Okay, so what's the letter there?
Pay.
Pay. Now what's the dagesh in the center for?
Make it stronger.
Make it a
Okay, so certain letters, BeGaD KeFaT, like the Beit, the Gimel, the Dalet. It used to be that the sound would change completely. The second set would be the Kaf, the Pei, and the Tav. So here's a B for that, right? The Gimel, the Dalet,
Yep.
the Kaf,
Okay.
and then the Pei or Fei, and the Tav. When there was a dagesh inside, it would make all the letters strong. Without the dagesh, it would soften them. So, be would be be. You know, like some kind of be would be be. It turned to a V without the.
Yeah.
Okay, and this still functions like that today.
Yeah.
The gimel used to go from g to gimel, but it doesn't do that anymore. It's an ancient way of pronouncing the Hebrew. And the dalet, it used to, trying to remember the sound of the ancient dalet, we don't use it, change the sound anymore.
Okay. DTA.
Oh, like that. Yeah, they would say, like some people say that Adam would be Adam. But I would pronounce it just like you do this, David. David. How strong was the last D? Not strong at all. David. You don't go David, right? You go David. It almost sounds like you're making a TH out of the D. And you can see that in Latin when you go from Greek to Latin. When you have theos, theology, and you have in Spanish Dios. The D and the TH. So in languages, you see the D and the TH are closely related, the B and the V, okay? So, only these letters still change. That's the Beit, the Kaf, and the Pei. So the K sound would go to KH, or we sometimes translate CH, and the P would become PH, or F. So that's why we say BeGaD KeFaT as the acronym. KeFaT, that's the Kuf, the Pei or Fei, and the Tav. And then of course this one used to have a TH sound, that's where you get the word Beth, the TH at the end, because of no dagesh in the letter Tav. A whole nother lesson. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the transliteration of the letter Pei here with the dagesh. With the dagesh, it's a strong what?
P.
P. So let's go ahead and put P here. What's the sound underneath here? So if we go from medium to from long to short vowels, we have the kamatz, the patak, and a patak with a shabbat next to it on the right, and that would be chatef, and that's it for that. Okay. So in this case, this is a long A. Okay, and then we have what letter next? Tav. Bileci. And then we have our masculine plural suffix at the end. In. Okay. So this is a hirik yud. That's a long I sound. Okay, which is E. Mishpatim. Mishpatim. So because this is long, that last accent, the last syllable gets the accent. Mishpatim. Ha mish. It's a shorter vowel. Ha mishpatim. So this is like Torah. Patim. Too long, you're going to lean on the last vowel. I mean, the last syllable. If it's too medium, link vowels side by side, you're going to lean on the first. Like Erev Shabbat, it's Erev, not Erev. Erev Shabbat. No, it's not Erev Shabbat. You want to come over for Erev Shabbat? No, it's not. Okay,
She
so
might be back soon.
you're right, Joanne. I wish she would come back. Yes.
I think they might.
Oh, I'm hoping they do actually. Okay, so I'm going to quickly do this one because we're out of time. Okay, so we have here. Seam.
Does your version have the Asher in there, or is it only in some?
Oh, I left the word out. I sure did. No, I'm glad you said that. I left it. When I was writing, my eye must have skipped.
Mm.
I would have caught it later when I tried to make
Tried to
sense out of
say
the
it.
whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully the cantor catches it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, good. All right, so here we have the Tasim. Okay, and then we have Leaf Nehem. So we have Leaf Nehem. Okay, so basically what we have is these are the, now I like to call these divine decrees. Oh no, excuse me. That's the hukat, or hukim. This mishpatim comes from the root shafat, which means to be a judge. So I like to call these righteous rulings.
Mm.
In other words, the righteous rulings of a king. Because when the gavel comes down, it's the final word. And the reason these are righteous rulings of the king is they're also rational rulings. They make sense. Most of the mishpatim make sense, while the other commandments don't make so much sense. They put in the category of hukim, which are divine decrees, meaning I don't know why God asked me to do it, but I'm doing it because he said so. And these are the righteous rulings, or you could put ordinances. Ordinances of a king, a ruling king. Okay?
Excuse me, Rabbi.
Yes.
On the Mishpatim, there's two eyes, and then one has a dot, and the other one has a long. Is that
This is a apostrophe here to show you that it's mish kandol stuff. This is sometimes how we indicate a Shabbat. It just is not needed. So we got to close. The Ele HaMishpatim, we have Tasim Lifnechem. These are the ordinances that you will set before them. You will set. Tasim. Sim Shalom means to establish peace or set before them. Peace. Yes?
On that one sheet, on the second line, does it have two dots, one on each side, or? Okay.
If there was a dot, I would have made it strong. All right, let's close in prayer. Hopefully you kind of learned something from the transliteration process.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for bar mitzvah training too, for you guys to know how to actually transliterate your portions. Okay? So let's close in prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, we thank you, Lord God, for being El Elyon, the Most High God. You are El Gibor, the Mighty God, and you are El Shaddai, you are the all-sufficient God. And I thank you that our sufficiency is found in you. And Father, you gave us Messiah Yeshua, your Son, Lord God, to provide all the promises that we were coming short to fulfill, even in your Torah. May your Torah be written in our hearts today by the Spirit of God, by the Ruach Elohim. And Father, we pray today that your Ruach, your Spirit, Lord God, will lead us and guide us into all truth today. Open our eyes to things we've not seen. Open our ears to hear things that will build up faith in us and allow us to experience with our heart everything that you have promised us, that we will possess all the promises of God that are in him, Messiah, yes and amen. B'Shem Yeshua. Amen. God bless you today. Shavua Tov.
Thank you.
Alma Hasenu רשת